Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm the pretty one.
And I'm Dalton Gentry. I always fuck up when you say things like that. I'm so used to pattern and routine. You gotta go with it. What are we here for?
You say it.
We're here to do a Q&A response video.
The 1K Q&A.
The 1K Q&A, because we hit 1,000 subscribers, and we opened up a Q&A once more because people loved it when we hit 500.
Yeah.
And we're filming this now with 1,300 plus subscribers, but we need to do responses.
Yeah.
So in true fashion, we are just going to open up the comments that we have not prepared for and hammer away. Answer the questions.
Yes.
From Joe Hawk, recommend a book to someone who doesn't read a lot. You already answered this one. Please go on.
I believe that Fight Club is a very good introductory text for beginning readers and or readers who are trying to get back into reading, because there is a lot there on a surface level that you can see immediately. There's a lot going on. There's a twist that newer readers tend to enjoy, things like that. And once you become a more skilled and practiced reader, there's levels there that you can pick things out from. So Fight Club's one of those things. Fight Club is better than Hemingway for, I believe, going back and finding things, because if you're not prepared for Hemingway, you're not going to go back, right?
Yeah.
So Fight Club, you're going to get all the way through Fight Club. If you're a reluctant reader, you're not going to get through a Hemingway novel at first, I don't think.
You know, start the Q&A off with a Fight Club question and just let you go.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how it works. Next up, Lindsay Robertson. My boyfriend's deaf and wants to know if you've considered adding captions to your videos. Yes. Yes, we have considered it. He did contact us through the comment section at one point, and we looked into it. I think the best thing we can offer right now is to say we can open up. I believe YouTubers can add their own captions, and they can be public captions.
I believe
and
so, yeah.
I am totally cool with doing that. I would love to say yes, I can, but doing the editing every single day for dropping videos daily, I don't know if I can promise that.
We don't. Until we are full time, we're probably not going to be able to do that.
I will say, though, if he ever has any questions whatsoever, wants to start a dialogue, just wants to talk, shoot us an email.
Absolutely.
We do tend to get back to those. Hopefully, eventually, we can say yes, we will caption everything wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Then that is now a goal for the channel. It's something, honestly, that we did not neglect. We never prepared for. Right.
Correct.
It's something that we overlooked, and we apologize for that.
Next up. Rachel Louise Atkins, Adrian, will you marry me?
Sure, we can do that.
I'm just going to start skipping over those questions now. From Lectito, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Lectito in Spain, what are you guys going to do with all the action figures after they've taken over your set? Let me just say that our action figures are purchased with the personalities of the patrons in mind, and because Adrian just wants to buy toys. Which, I'm just saying, that's how it works, don't lie.
If by saying that you mean there is a spirit behind each of the patrons' representations, then yes.
Yes. And Adrian really wants to buy toys.
It is a question that we have struggled with, and we are currently struggling with in an overflow.
We're going to need a shelf.
Yes, this is a book channel, and you can't see any of the books because we've got patrons now.
That's a good thing.
So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a sign of growth. It's a sign of we like to take it as a sign of we're doing something right.
Yes.
But it is a serious question, and we are facing it soon.
You want to check out this sweet plug here?
What's that?
If you want to find the answer to this question, please click the link to Patreon above. And continue to support us. We will get you your own action figure on the set, and we will answer your question in real time. From Knowledge Lost.
Consummate worker, this guy.
From Knowledge Lost. I'm disappointed that Dalton isn't getting an Emily Dickinson tattoo. Yeah. Moving on. No.
He told me off screen he's actually going to. There's a certain slant of light.
No.
He's going to get that on his back.
No.
Absolutely
not.
Right above his belt line.
Tons of poems on here, which is great. I'd love to read all the poems, but we're just doing Q&A responses right now.
Yes.
From the Hardback Hoarder. Question. In Harry Potter, the love potion smells like what a person finds appealing. What 3 smells would yours smell like? This is more for me, but you can answer as well.
You go first.
I don't know. Do you know something off the top of your head?
Tobacco.
Ew.
Whiskey.
Eh.
And I'm trying to think. Is there any...
You have a couple of candles over here.
One of them is leather, tobacco, and woods.
So
Yeah.
that's what it is? That's what your love potion smells like, leather? It's what you find appealing, and I assume because it's a love potion, it's what you find appealing in the gender you're attracted to.
Oh.
So leather, tobacco, and woods?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
No, answer. Start answering. I'm thinking.
I have
pressure on me, you son of a bitch.
I have a terrible, weird fascination with Febreze. Clean linen is the best goddamn smell ever. So, clean linen, cucumber melon, that's a delicious scent. And I don't know after that. I'm trying to get a third one in here.
Frankincense
And
gets
myrrh.
me. That a woman that smells like frankincense gets me.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Lavender.
Ooh, I like
Lavender
lavender
gets
as
me.
well.
I do like lavender.
Lavender is a good one. We're going to go to the candle section so we can find out what are more than 6 smells that we can come up with. Also from Hardback Hoarder, which female literary character do you find most appealing and would like to date? Do we need to question that for you?
What were you going to say?
Oh, female literary character, I don't know. Marla Singer, perhaps?
Where I was going to go.
Alaska, looking for Alaska.
Oh.
I've said many times
Dalton.
that sweet, beautiful train wreck is my ideal.
Dalton.
Ideal. Since Fight Club is a favorite here, have either of you been involved in a fist fight?
Like a legitimate fist fight?
Yes.
No. My friends and I... Friends? Like I've ever had friends. We used to beat on each other every once in a while just for fun. I'm not sure if that counts. But like, angry... Look, my strategy... I got to like the 7th grade, and I had never had enough friends to get in a fight, right? Because it's always your friends you fight with. Like, it's rarely ever some random person or an enemy that you've had. So I got to the 7th grade, and I had never been in a fight, and I realized I'd better start lifting weights because I need to approach this with a strategy of shock and awe, right? Like, I've got to be big enough that everyone has to think, do I want to, like, because if he lands one, there's going to be danger there,
Okay.
right? So I had to get to that size. That was my goal. That's why I started lifting weights.
I'm really excited to be the man in our relationship now.
Well, you go ahead, honey.
So let me just ramble. I used to box. We've made that apparent. So if you don't consider that fist fighting, I do combat training yearly for my job. If you don't consider that fist fighting, any time that I'm in some kind of drunken situation where people are stupid, because I'm convinced the rest of the world can't handle their shit when they're drinking, I'm the one who gets stuck fucking breaking it up.
So you're the one who can't handle his shit when he's drinking.
Oh, no.
You're the one that comes in swinging.
No. When two people start swinging or throwing shit at each other or beating the hell out of each other, I'm the one who always gets to break it up. Every time.
So you're mom.
I'm mom.
Next question.
With the left fist. Another poem. Monse killed it with a poem. Can't wait to see your tattoos and videos from such a bookaholic. I can't wait to see your tattoos either. You've said nothing is off limits. So I've spent a lot of our videos trying to decide if you two are a couple or not. But then last time I'm pretty sure Dalton mentioned a fiancé. What exactly are your relationship statuses?
Let me handle this one. Dalton and I are definitely a couple of handsome young devils. I think that's as far as we care to go with it.
You review a lot of male authors. Who are your favorite top 3 female authors and why? That's... Ooh.
I've loved Emily Dickinson since I was reading poetry. Like, that was the... I Died for Beauty was the first poem that just awakened me to what poetry could be. So,
I've loved J.K. Rowling since I was a child, and I first got into reading through
me see the
J.K.
question.
Rowling.
where's the question at?
Right here. You review a lot of males. Who's your
Female
favorite 3?
authors. You consider J.K. Rowling an author?
Yes, I do.
Even though she's a ghostwriter?
J.K. Rowling.
Ghostwriters?
J.K. Rowling would be one of mine.
Sylvia Plath, I think, is an author that has kept it real, right? Like,
Kept it real.
You see Sylvia Plath's writing and you know that there's something there.
I can get behind Sylvia Plath 100%.
Lori Moore is someone that I was exposed to in grad school and immediately became one of my favorite writers ever.
Jane Goodall. I love Jane Goodall. She's on my top list of people.
You're gonna quit me from talking about Lori Moore so you can talk about Jane Goodall?
Yes.
Okay.
Jane Goodall. Because I have a linguistic fascination and eventually I'm just going to go live in the trees and teach monkeys sign language, Jane Goodall is my hero.
Live in the trees and teach monkeys sign language. Is that symbolism for BookTube? Like
and if not,
we're all just monkeys?
If not, Julia Child. I'll just live in a kitchen and cook food for you, which is also acceptable, I assume.
And break up my fights?
And break up your Julia Child was a big woman. She could have broke up a lot of fights. Also, top 3 favorite TV shows and why?
Celia. Is that Celia still?
It's Celia.
Celia. You know I don't watch TV. The last television show that I watched was like season 3 of Scrubs.
I like Scrubs. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, obviously. Anthony Bourdain, any show he does, no reservations, whatever. I'm a big Anthony Bourdain fan, so I'm going to say that.
Okay.
And I have a terrible fascination with Law and Order. I don't know why.
That's not uncommon, from what I understand.
Law and Order's my soap. I gotta watch my soaps.
I couldn't, even when I was like in high school, I couldn't watch Law and Order.
Yeah?
Yeah, I never got into that.
What's your favorite reading spots or places to read?
Well, you're looking at my living room right now. I will read here. I'll read at my desk. I think a more interesting answer for me is where I don't read. I don't read in bed.
Yeah?
I refuse to do so.
That's probably smart.
Yeah.
I read in my lazy boy chair at home. However, a good majority of my reading, I have a 35-minute commute to work, and dear sweet fiance drives me back and forth because it's more productive that way. And I have a little book light, so that's an hour's worth of reading time every day.
Built in.
It's perfect. And it helps me get through the day.
I don't read in bed because when I decided to rededicate myself to reading, I was reading in bed. And it conditioned me to every time I was reading want to fall asleep.
Yes.
So that's
not a good thing.
Yeah, that's why I don't read in bed.
What are you reading besides what you're reading for the channel?
I'm working on some Bukowski. I'm working on the 15 Laws of Growth. I still haven't finished Free Will by Sam Harris. I picked something else up recently, I can't remember. I'm reading a lot of essays right now because one thing I'm trying to build into the channel is a lit crit series. So after right now, we read Lolita not too long ago, and I am working on, Hitchens has an essay in his compilation called Arguably, called Hurricane Lolita. So I'm going to work through that and pull out a couple of the points he makes to make a lit crit video as a supplement to our reviews.
I just finished Children of the New World by Alexander Weinstein, debut set
Which you loved, right?
Which I loved. I will have a full review on that debut set of short stories from this author. I believe he teaches creative writing at Martha's Vineyard or something like that. That's all I know about him off the top of my head. I'm not prepared for this.
Something Skull, didn't you?
I read The Missing Skull by John Wilson. It is a middle grade novel. We'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
Not crazy impressed with that one. And I'm looking at doing a book called Moxieland next. I don't know the author off the top of my head, but it's on my nightstand to be next. Moxieland.
Novel or?
It is a novel, and it is an advanced copy as well. I think it comes out late August.
Look at you getting advanced copies.
I know, I'm a pretentious asshole now.
Did you send for them by your owl?
By my owl?
Yeah, did you send your owl out?
I totally sent my owl out.
What's your owl named?
I don't have an... Shut up! Stop distracting me. Tell me about your writing process.
For me, the writing process is something that is always evolving. When I was in grad school, I have made this point on the channel a couple times, I would wake up and go to the library, and it would just be something, you've got to write today. You better find something. So I did writing and reading every day in the library for 6 or 7 hours. And that was my process then. Now, without the time, really, I get in... I try to stay active with journaling because a lot of ideas will come from that. Mm-hmm. I try to write more poetry now because it's a lesser initial time investment.
Correct. I enjoy writing poetry. Poetry is very easy to sit. It's not easy, but it's good to sit down and you can get a poem out. You feel accomplished, so that's always good. I use Pinzu a lot for notes, daily journaling. If I'm doing daily journaling, I'll do it on Pinzu. I do take a lot of notes when I don't have notebooks handy, especially if I'm working. And if I'm going to sit down and write, I bust out my ancient Remington typewriter. And you can get about 3 full pages written before the arthritis sets in. That's why the generation before us has this arthritis. Typing on a typewriter sucks.
Yeah.
But the clicking noise and everything, it's just delightful. And ching, ching. And for me, my favorite places in France, maybe Paris, and why. All of France is delightful. I lived in the city of Annecy, which is southern France outside of Geneva. So that would be my favorite place because I lived there. Yeah, that's what I got for that.
Okay.
Yeah, Paris is too confusing. Adrian, where do you get those hot Dayglow leotards?
Well, they're not just leotards, they're onesies. I am actually a superhero, and I shop at the superhero store here in Kansas City. It's on Truston, Maine. So
if you know anything about Kansas City, that's where the superhero store totally is.
That's where it would have to be, because you need to get those replacements while on the job. Yeah, nowhere special. Some of them came from Walmart. That's what we have here in the Midwest.
Yes.
So yeah, just I pick them up when I see them.
From Cherry Walker, who is your favorite artist, and what is your favorite painting?
For me, it's Caravaggio.
Okay.
Just open up a Google box and Google Caravaggio right now. You will not go back. A couple of my favorite things about Caravaggio are the fact that everything he paints in media res, right? Like you're coming in the middle of something.
Okay.
And his paintings fall off of the canvas. And my favorite painting by him, strictly because we have it at the Nelson Atkins, is St. John the Baptist. And every time I go, I make a point to stop by that painting and just look at it a little bit.
We should go to the Nelson Atkins. I haven't been there in years.
Really?
Years, like high school.
Really?
Yeah, that long. We should definitely go.
We will.
Favorite artist for me would be Toulouse-Lautrec. Favorite painting is rather difficult. Toulouse-Lautrec can do no wrong. The overhyped Le Chat Noir advertisement is just gorgeous. But every hipster has one of those now, and it's unfortunate. So I'm not sure if I have a favorite painting I can say off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Vitruvian Man? It's not a painting, I guess.
It's not a painting.
Mona Lisa?
Something from Toulouse-Lautrec or Peter Max, if I'm going to go favorite painting. We have a lot of
By the way,
suggestions.
no one ever did our Leonardo da Vinci tag, really. We had one, I think.
From Marie. What is the best and worst quality in the other?
The best quality in Dalton, I'm trying to think of how to put it into words. Dalton is very able. You can challenge Dalton to do anything and he will figure it out. I'm trying to think, like...
Dalton is functional.
No.
He is a good tool in the toolbox.
Like, we got into this, and I was like, hey, Dalton, I don't know anything about editing. And Dalton said, neither do I.
We'll figure it out.
And he figured it out. We got into this, and I said, Dalton, I don't know anything about YouTube. And Dalton figured it out. Dalton is the Swiss Army knife.
I love how you're dancing around this so bad.
No, like that. I mean that. Like I don't know how to put it into words. It's an appreciable skill to be able to take something and learn it.
Fair enough.
And it's helpful.
Fair enough. Adrian's best and worst qualities are the same, and he is the most. What's the word that I want to use? The most disciplined and dedicated person that I know. If Adrian says he's going to do something, he's going to do it, if it kills him.
Yeah.
And I can say, Adrian, why don't you take an hour off, Adrian? Take a day off work. He's like, no, we don't do that. But the man can sit down and have just Zen Buddhist level discipline, and it's just mind-blowing. But on the other hand of that, if I am 5 minutes late to filming, Adrian says, where the fuck are you? Turn around, go home. We're not doing it today. You ruined everything. So Adrian is very much so a perfectionist, which is good and bad. We're polar opposites because I am the most laid-back person ever, and you are not.
Do you want to know the last time I called into a real job?
When's that?
2003.
Do you want to know the last time I called in at a real job?
When?
The 23rd.
The worst thing about Dalton, let me see. The worst thing about Dalton, okay, so we had a spat not too long ago, and
Lover's quarrel.
Dalton was able to say, okay, I was wrong, you were right. But before that, whenever Dalton has that switch is flipped where Dalton's going to quit, Dalton wants to blame you.
Yes.
You know, you've had a rough week at work, Adrian. Are you sure you want to film today? You know, maybe just take a couple hours and relax. You know what, Adrian? I know you had to turn that overnight. Do you need a few hours to finish up this book review, or?
Dalton is incapable of making a decision or being responsible for something.
Okay.
It is necessary that someone else be that person. And I give you that 100%. Like, if I lose my leg, I'll be like, are you busy today? Because I got, if you need some time. I give you that 100%. From Monse. We're going to tell her just to fuck off, but she'll ask anyway. Why are we so mean to her?
Oh, fuck off.
Fuck off, Monse.
No, we're not mean to Monse.
Believe it or not, I am specifically mean to people that I like. It makes no sense, but it seems like I like people and I appreciate them. I'm a dick to them.
Like with humor or
both?
Really?
Yeah.
So you've got that loving wrath.
It's like when someone comes over to my house and they're coming over on a consistent basis. If someone new comes over, I'm very friendly. I make sure I'll make drinks for them. I'll make sure everything's nice and pour drinks. If you've been to my house on multiple occasions, go fuck yourself. You make your own drink or I don't give a goddamn about you.
See, I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. You've got to earn your way with me. If this is your first time over here, you got to prove yourself.
Okay. What is your favorite class in college, and what is the class that you got the most out of and applied to in your everyday life? Clearly, it was my walking lab that I took for my gym credit, where I learned how to walk for 1 mile a week. That's a difficult question off the top of your head.
Yeah, it really is. Again, we should have prepared.
From the top of my head, honestly, Robert's poetry class was wonderful because he's the first person who taught me how to actually look at poetry, what syntax was, what a stanza was, basically.
I will say that my favorite class in retrospect was with Benzel, the class that I finished almost nothing from.
Yeah?
Because
was it World Lit?
Yes.
Where I looked at the syllabus and realized I could get a C if I nailed the final and didn't read anything?
No, it was American Lit.
Okay.
It was American Lit early 19th century because... No, it was English literature, not American literature. Because we went over the trench poets, which I am still indebted to her for the trench poets' involvement in my life. But I got my ass kicked so thoroughly in that class that I said, Adrian, strap your boots up. This is going to be more difficult than you believe.
Okay.
The most useful class, I would have to say, was my young adult literature class. Because it was right. Exactly. Cadden, because what I was able to do was when the themes were that clunky, it made me a lot better at being able to recognize them.
Okay.
Because when I first went off to college, like I say, I was outmatched. I was behind.
Yeah.
And that really brought me up to speed and allowed me in one semester to say, okay, look, I can do this.
Most useful for me would have been Donnaher's Pop Lit class. For no reason other than that is the class where she said, why are you an education major? Stop being stupid. We all know you're going to be a lit major.
Yeah.
So that changed things.
That class for me was very useful as well because just the volume of reading we did.
That also introduced me to existentialism, which I'm a huge fan of.
Really?
Yes, with Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
Sam Spade.
Okay.
It is the correct book. I just quote a character from it, so I'm like, shit. I hope that's the right character. Recommend a book that you have not mentioned on your channel.
Not mentioned on the channel. Wow.
I don't know the author, but nonfiction. It's called The Noble Hustle. It is a pop culture-esque writer who goes through the rigor of becoming a professional poker player. I am a big card player. Yeah, I read weird things like that. Or you could read down Bringing Down the House. That's the nonfiction review of the MIT Blackjack team.
Okay. Einstein, His Life and Universe by Walter Isaacson. That's a really good biography.
Okay.
And it gives you a great insight into what genius is.
Mr. Putler Gollum, are you guys willing to do an analysis on some plays? Absolutely, I have no objection to that.
We've had planned for a while to do Three Sisters.
Yes, we need. I forgot about doing Three Sisters.
We need to work in some Shakespeare at some point.
Immaterial digression. How much can Adrian bench?
I think there are possibly two questions in there. What is the most Adrian has benched, and what can Adrian currently bench? The most Adrian has benched is 365. Right now, I could probably hit 330-ish. But again, I'm out of shape right now. So my goal is before maybe the turn of the year or something to hit 400 or 405.
I don't know. I've never counted. Thanks for asking.
I've never counted.
Miriam Frei, excuse me. I can't talk right now. Question 1. When will you visit me? When we can afford to.
Yeah. Once we hit full time, I'll be all over the place.
Right now I'm trying to consider how the hell I'm going to pay the power bill because it's been a hot month. But
yeah, I have to turn on the air conditioner for your jerk off here.
Shut up. What's the weirdest thing you did as a kid? My parents were actually very concerned. I, in public, am a overwhelmingly polite person. So much so where I don't talk to people, and I'd go weeks in school with not saying words to anyone because I'm just incredibly afraid of offending people, and I don't like people.
You social justice warrior.
No, I'm just socially awkward warrior. So.
Wow, weirdest thing? Possibly borderline weirdest / saddest thing I did as a child. I used to play catch with myself. I would rev up and throw the football as high and far as I could, and I would run under it and catch it. And I even had markers for the furthest I ever got. So that is embarrassing to put out there.
Question 3, how much do you like me? Not a question for YouTube.
Immensely.
Question 4, the question I'm always asking everyone, if your reading taste would smell, how would it smell? I'd like to assume like a fine Burgundy wine, aged well, and most people who drink it have no idea what to do with it.
A Burgundy?
Burgundy.
You chose a Burgundy?
Burgundy.
Mine would probably smell like stale cigars and tobacco because you're looking at Chuck Palahniuk, you're looking at Ernest Hemingway, and you're looking at Charles Bukowski.
Mixed with a little Robitussin just to wash it all down.
So nothing that smells good. I'll tell you that right now.
From Little Paper Hands, you get offered a contract to write books for $1 million a year, but those books must make up a series with only one central character. What would your series be, and who would your main character be? Opting out is not an option.
So we're talking Harry Potter-esque, right?
I assume so. I think that's the gist.
So do we have other writerhood involved in this?
Sure, whatever. Pick a main character that you have to write about for the rest of forever to get paid a lot for.
You go first.
Because I would be making millions and therefore would not care, I would pick the most just generic young adult fiction character I could come up with. So I could write my book within a couple weeks' time and then spend my money.
I am so disappointed in you. I am so disappointed. Because my answer goes the exact opposite. This is falling down.
Here's the thing. You're not changing the face of literature in this. You're just getting paid a lot.
Right, which means you're getting paid a lot. So you have carte blanche.
No, not necessarily.
Yes, you have carte. She said, okay.
Oh, you have carte blanche. Yes, you have carte blanche, but it's no guarantee people are going to read it or it's going to affect.
But
them.
You write about anything you want. Look, here's one character that I have experimented on and off with for a long time. It's a guy who goes batshit and becomes the boogeyman.
Okay.
And the title of the piece right now is Tolstoy Tastes Like Strawberries. So that's the one that I would take and earn $1 million for writing time and time again.
Okay.
And I would try to mine everything out of there that I could, but it's written in such a fashion right now that I don't have the tools to consistently get in that place.
Okay.
Right? So
you're not that crazy yet.
Right. Once I have the money for mind-altering drugs, I think that would be harvestable.
From Boho Bookworm, how often do you guys get together and film?
It depends.
Yeah, it really does depend.
At least weekly.
Minimum weekly. It can be ridiculous. Do you enjoy whiskey, wine, beer while filming? We have, but not necessarily always.
Right.
Every now and then a whiskey is appropriate. What else do you both do for a living?
I work retail.
I work in law enforcement. This is why we enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
Short story, book review. Perks of Books thinks we should get lightsabers tattooed on our fingers to be official book Yodas. I agree wholeheartedly. Poem suggestion. When will we be doing a discussion on A Clockwork Orange? Hopefully soon. I love the book.
Tentatively next month.
September, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Tentatively.
Okay, I can get behind that. What are your opinions on Chuck Palahniuk's graphic novel sequel to Fight Club?
I have not read it.
Neither have I. I'm not objected to reading it. I enjoy graphic novels. But I've never actually just seen it and I'm like, oh, I should pick this up.
Yeah, we need to. We really do need to.
Patricia reads, so I know how you guys met initially, but what brought you guys back together? Together again.
I'm trying to think of the least abrasive way to say this. I get tired of life a lot. And this was something that I've always wanted to do. And that's what brought us back together. Honestly, we hadn't talked for a year and a half.
Yeah, I got a text message out of the blue in years. I'm like, the hell's Adrian want? And he says, hey, I got an idea.
Yeah.
And it snowballed from there.
And see, that's the thing is, another one of Dalton's worst qualities. I'm gonna keep going on these. I've got a lot of them pent up in rage here. He's a very hard starter, right?
Yes.
Like you need that very big log. That very big kindling log, and this didn't take any of it. I just said, hey, I got an idea. What is it? Told him, I'm in. And that was surprising for me.
Fair enough. From Mega Man Chief Fan, what do you guys think about Stephen King? I like Stephen King. We've read Carrie for the channel. We did the Gunslinger. I think
we reference On Writing a lot.
Yeah. I have no problem with Stephen King. I mean,
I am not a Stephen King fan. I think he is important to read simply because he is so prolific, and because he is a good storyteller.
Okay.
So if I could have a little bit more of that storyteller quality bleed into my writing, I would profit from it.
From Book Your Imagination, how did we meet? That question comes up a lot. We met in college because Adrian... we met on Grindr.
Yeah.
No, we met in college because Adrian's an asshole and would not leave me alone. That's essentially the gist of it.
Our first meeting, I made it a point to sit in every... There was no assigned seating in one of our classes, and a lot of our classes, you get assigned seating after the first day.
Yeah.
So I made it a point to sit in every seat in the class, and I just worked my way around, and the last seat in the class... you do that and you make everyone uncomfortable, right? Because people around the midway mark figure it out, so they see you coming.
No, it's not that. You take the person who does not move spots. Once I've established my dominance over a spot, it's mine. And it's in the back, away from everyone, so I can nap during the lecture.
It was not in this class.
This class, it was right next
by
to the
podium.
desk. Yes.
Yeah. So,
do you know why? Because when I walked in, the back row had people back there. I'm like, nope.
Opt out!
By myself.
Panic!
On the island.
So, the very last seat in the class, the next to last seat in the class was Dalton's. You should have seen him that day. He was all twitchy and comes in, doesn't know what to do. So the next to last seat, or the last seat, was next to Dalton. And
That's where you stayed.
That's where I stayed.
Oh, look at that. How did you discover that you both like books as passionately as you do? How did we discover it about each other? We were in classes together.
Yeah.
And
and we would have arguments about things.
we would.
Normally, we would agree that what we were reading was shit.
I think the first time for me, though, when I found out I was really passionate about books, do you remember the Scholastic Book Fair?
Yeah.
I never had money for the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah.
But
Always
that
went, though.
was the best day ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could go in and look at all the books.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
I don't know if they were like this where you went to grade school, but where I went, they caught on that everyone was poor, so they started wrapping them. So when you went to these Scholastic Book Fairs and you couldn't buy anything anyway, all you could do was look at the covers. That was disappointing.
Bastards. Have you ever gotten into a fight over a book story perspective that threatened your friendship?
Tell the story.
What story? Which one?
Any of them you got? I only know one.
That threatened our friendship, not necessarily, because usually I get to the point I'm just like, all right, Adrian, you're right. You win. Shh. Take it. Just accept it. Yeah. How is Hot and Sticky going? It's almost over, right?
Tell the story.
What story?
The story about the envelope.
Oh, Christ. I forgot about that. Okay. So, I am not a writer.
As the next question comes up.
Yeah, how's Hot and Sticky going? Adrian is a writer. Adrian publishes. Adrian is a good writer. I don't like writing. I avoid it. If I do write and I enjoy it, I don't share it. It's personal for me. I don't like sharing writing. Adrian gets on a tangent in college of Dalton should be a writer. So he gives me an envelope that's sealed and signed. So
hold on. I came into class every day. No, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer.
Correct.
So I come into class one day with this envelope, and I say, you know what, Dalton? You're right. I said, you're not a writer. And I've got this envelope, and I said, here's a letter. And this is all of the reasons that you should not be a writer. But you have to wait a week. Promise me that you will wait a week to read it. And he promised me. And I didn't think he'd follow through. I figured he'd open it right after class because that's the way Dalton is. He's a liar. And go ahead from there.
I didn't touch the letter. The thought occurred to me, I'm like, if it's fucking blank, I'm going to smack him.
You didn't think that.
I actually went to your apartment after a week, I believe, and you very somberly, gave me a bunch of movies and stuff, Adrian's going to kill himself tonight, and I'm going to be responsible for this. Gave away your material possessions, gave me all this great fatherly advice, and you said go home, and the next day you opened the letter, and I opened it, it was blank. I'm like, God damn it, Adrian.
There's no reason he shouldn't be a writer.
I think we met at Einstein Brothers Bagels after that, and I'm like, God damn it, Adrian. You're like, there's no reason you shouldn't be a writer. You should write. And I'm like, fuck you, buddy.
And you started writing.
Yeah, unfortunately. How is Hot and Sticky going?
Not as well as I had hoped.
Hot and Sticky miss.
I am behind.
Yes.
And a lot of what I have written is garbage and does not belong in the story.
Because that's what a first draft is.
Yeah, sure.
Peter Clark says he's totally looking forward to movie reviews, which is a good thing. We're hoping to get on that soon. Jack Williams, which author did you need to read in college that everyone debated fiercely in class, but you couldn't be bothered to care because you disliked him or her that much? Every single person, because I probably didn't do the reading anyway.
J.K. Rowling. There was a Harry Potter class, and one of my favorite professors, Adrian, why don't you, she taught it. Adrian, why don't you take the Harry Potter class? Because I'm an adult. Adrian, come on, take the Harry Potter class. No, thank you.
I love that class. It was great.
I bet you did, but I didn't take it, and everyone loved Harry Potter.
We actually had to do a found word poem once, where you have to create a design with the words of a poem, and I did Emily Dickinson's "I Heard a Fly Buzz" in the.
There's four stanzas.
4 stanzas. Each stanza was a letter that spelled the word shit. At which point the professor, old Doc Rob himself, put it on the projector and just went, and he turned it and looked at it from the other angle, and that was about it.
Now, let me tell you the whole story about that. Dalton and I were sitting next to each other.
It's quickly becoming an hour long.
And I said, hey, Dalton, why don't you take I Died for Beauty and write it in the word shit? At which time Dalton goes, oh my God!
God!
I
Oh
heard
my
a fly
God!
buzz.
Or was it I Heard a Fly
Yes.
Buzz? Yeah. And so, like all of Dalton's best ideas,
They came
it is
from
my idea.
This is true. Steiny Puppy wants to know if we'll consider reading The Name of the Wind. I have no objections to it. I know it's a really popular book. I have not read it. I haven't read any of his works, so maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
I have no objections to reading anything. Someone suggested that we read The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. Yes, we should. Question, Rachel61, what do you think people misunderstand most about you?
Go ahead, Dalton.
The blatantly obvious question, a lot of people think I'm a homosexual. Which apparently most people think we both are, because we always get the comment of how we're so cute and adorable together and we must be lovers. Although I yield to the fact that I am cute and adorable, which furthers the argument of most people think I'm a homosexual. It's very trying. If you are a man who reads literature and you go to literature classes and you talk about poetry and you talk about emotional appeal and things, you're going to get that peg a lot.
Yeah.
Very misunderstood.
Don't say it that way.
You're going to get that peg a lot. But that's the most misunderstanding thing. A lot of people go that route.
But for me, it goes way back further than that. I was raised by my mother. I was raised with two sisters, so I've always been effeminate.
Yes. I have no brothers.
Yeah. So that's where I get it. A lot of people misunderstand. I need a lot of alone time. I don't socialize. So when I get in a social situation, I'm just looking for ways out.
I'll tell this story real quick. Adrian joined my fantasy football league this year. We have a group chat through Facebook where everybody gets together and just rips on each other. It's football talk.
Which I'm not opposed to that.
We add Adrian to the chat. He never says anything. 10 minutes later, I get a text message that essentially says, "Get me the fuck out of this chat."
I'm not doing this.
Immediately. I'm not doing this. I will not be subjected to this.
There was like 30 notifications in 10 minutes. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
What are your opinions on the best and worst book-to-movie adaptation?
Best, and I've gone on this several times on the channel, American Psycho and Fight Club do... Okay, so the books are beautiful examples of books and what books can do. The movies are beautiful examples of movies and what movies can do. But they are not direct translations. So for me, that is a great example.
Lord of the Rings series is amazing. Amazing. Peter Jackson did great. He left out some things, but as a film to book adaptation, wonderful. Book to film adaptation. Worst, if you've ever seen The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio, it's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Although Leo is a great Gatsby.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's a great Gatsby.
He is a mediocre Gatsby at best.
Leonardo DiCaprio can do no wrong. I watched that man crawl and get eaten by a bear for 2 hours and loved it.
Crawl hard.
But that movie was awful.
I would say that old boy Tobey Maguire is a better example of Nick Carraway.
Okay.
But worst, Sphere by Michael Crichton was miserable as a movie. Just miserable.
Ævar asks for more diversity in contemporary novel reviews. If we knew what was popular, we would try.
Well,
we're getting
part
there.
Part of it is, we only get one review a week, right?
Yes.
For one main review a week, we do those on Tuesdays. It's hard to read everything. We're only 7-8 months old.
Yeah, we're very young.
We're making an effort to get there, but...
From Edel S, are you passionate about music? What kind of music do you like in general and specific musicians and songs?
I am a battle rapper on the side. That's where I earn most of my money.
It's always delightful to be driving through Kansas City with Adrian if you're in his truck and know for a fact that gangster rap might start blasting at any point in time. That makes me incredibly uncomfortable. If you haven't seen Office Space, that you're that guy.
I'm not that guy.
Except you don't turn down the music.
I'm not that guy.
You turn it up.
Chris Cornell. I'm a big Chris Cornell fan, with exceptions. But anything Chris Cornell does, I'm willing to give a chance. Audio Slave, Soundgarden, that guy. Lead singer there.
Anything with a banjo, I have an unnecessary attraction to. Old Mumford & Sons, beautiful. New Mumford & Sons. but if it has a banjo, I will fucking love it. All the way back, I will listen to the Kingston Trio, 1940s, 1950s, because it has a fucking banjo.
Do you listen to these things on vinyl?
I do own a record player, and I do collect the occasional vinyl album. I do like a lot of classic rock as well. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. Pink Floyd can do no wrong, in my opinion. I like Dr. Hook. If you're not familiar with that, I'm sorry for what I've just turned you on to. Dr. Hook could be the soundtrack to every 70s porn that you've ever seen.
Okay.
And it's just delightful.
How many 70s porns have you seen?
More than I am willing to admit on the internet.
Do you watch them on vinyl?
Yes, I do. No, we have the old VHS player. If you don't know what a VHS is, that went weird. My question is, this PF reads, I love literature and prose, and I find it has the most flexible media. The reader has his part in creating the story in his head with authorial intent or not in lengthy prose. You get at least a foundation of what the story is, and extra meaning symbols are the cherry on top of the cake. But in poetry, the text is short. You can have rhyme or flow, but I cannot judge if it is good or not. If the beauty is there and it is intentional or not, when you guys explore a poem... Sorry, I just had to click the more button. When you guys explore a poem and it makes sense, I find it neat. I can't do it myself. Do I have a block, a prejudice, or some people just don't get it anyway? Should I study for it? Is it worthy? So, how to do full review on poem.
You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
The reason you think you can't do it yourself is you're telling yourself you can't do it yourself. Look, in a poem, it's just the fact that every word holds more weight than it does in a novel, for instance. So you have to look at where are things capitalized? Where do lines end? Where do stanzas end? Look, with a poem, you really want to look at what's it about and what's it about. What is the poem about? This poem is about roses. What is the poem written to be about? This poem is about a love affair, right? So that's an obvious one right there, roses and love affairs. But every poem is going to have those two things there. So you just have to really, it's the same tools that you're doing with a novel. You just, instead of having a hammer, you bring a sledgehammer, right? So it's the same premise.
Okay. Franny for thoughts. If anything in the world was possible, what is the craziest thing you can think of that you'd like to do? If you've seen the videos of people opening a full bottle of Jack Daniels and downing it in one go, I've just always wanted to do that, but I know it'd kill me. And I'm 99% sure it's just Reed sealed and it has tea in it. But those are my life goals in a nutshell, so.
I'd do this for a living and I'd write for a living.
I don't think that's a crazy thing, though. I think that's
it's fairly crazy.
Goal.
It's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
People, anytime you can't, where I live, you can't say that.
True story. Very true story. What insect do you think Gregor Samsa transformed himself into, and why? Why? I don't know, but I've always pictured it as like a big beetle thing.
Yeah. Cockroach.
Cockroach style.
Cockroach.
Cockroach.
Like cucaracha.
Johnny B, what literary tattoo would you pick for the other person to get? That's a tough one. There's so many options I could go here.
Yeah.
But I would like Adrian, because Adrian is a very gym-oriented person. He's always concerned about looking good and
not looking good. That's not why I go to the gym.
Being healthy, being in good shape.
I go to the gym to lift heavy things.
I want a huge face portrait of Gloria Steinem on Adrian's chest. I don't know why, but that would just be like the topping on the cake for me.
I would have Dalton gets I Died for Beauty as a tramp stamp.
I'm actually not opposed to that. That would be like if you actually float it, like found word poem into a tribal.
Or a butterfly.
Ooh. We should stop making decisions right now. Okay.
We're not even drunk.
Susan Powers, what are your hobbies other than BookTube?
Lifting heavy things, writing. Other than BookTube, I'm assuming you mean other than reading and learning in general, so I can't use any of those things. I'm very simple.
I work.
Yeah.
And I don't like my job, but I go anyway.
Yeah.
I knit. I don't crochet because I'm not a hooker. I know how to quilt. I don't do it.
You're just a stripper.
If you take any like stereotypical
housewife.
1880s housewife skill That's kind of what I'm good at. Gardening, cooking, knitting, quilting, mending and tending the house. It's kind of what I do.
He does garden. He does cook.
Yes. How did you meet? We've answered that. And what has BookTube done for you? BookTube has made my phone blow up 24 hours a day and make me lose sleep a lot. But beyond that, it's really opened up a community that's given us an outlet to talk books, which is wonderful. It's given me an opportunity to find out what people actually read because I have no knowledge of what's popular right now. And it's been quite just an enjoyable experience overall, in my opinion.
Yeah, you said community, and that's the nail on the head for me. After college, I was not able to find readers or writers around, so that was disappointing. And so for me, yeah, opening the doors back up to a community and finding out that other people actually have thoughts about these things and do these things, and
it feels like you're doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Final question, are we planning to film our literary tattoos? Absolutely. We just need to find somebody who's willing to give us a decent tattoo that will let us film them. Which is
so if you have any suggestions around the Kansas City area, let us know for sure.
Certainly. And that's it.
That's it?
1K Q&A.
1K Q&A.
Only an hour and 30 minutes long.
Yeah, it was about 1,000 questions almost.
Yeah, it really was. But we tend to do Q&As every now and then. If you ever have a question, shoot it to our Twitter account. We will try to answer it, and email us something. We're relatively friendly people to get a hold of. But if you do like things like this and you are interested in this channel, talking about us, talking about books, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. We always appreciate that.
Follow us on Twitter @StripCover and on Facebook @StripCoverLit.